Hello everyone, and good evening, good afternoon, good morning from where you are. I just spoke with the instructor. There was a confusion with the time from his end, but he's going to join in a couple of minutes. So we should start in the next like 4 to 5 minutes. He's just setting up his laptop. We should be able to start shortly. Once again, apologies. We rarely start this late, but we will start shortly once he joins. Um, Hi, Moses.
Yeah, Mr. Anthony, can you?
Hello, Moses.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you guys hear me, please?
I can hear you now.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm just trying to set up. I'm trying to share my screen right now, real quick.
Okay. So we'll just get right
All
into
right.
it.
So I will. Please.
I was saying we'll just get right into it because we've started a bit late, about 21 minutes late. So maybe just
If you guys can hear me.
can you hear me?
I don't see. Right.
Can you hear me? Moses, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. I'm trying to share my screen.
Yeah, no worries. So just make the video
Well, can you
off.
guys see my screen?
It's loading now.
All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, maybe put it on full screen mode.
Yeah. I'm trying to put it on presentation mode. All right. So can you guys see my screen? Is it clearer?
No, it's still not on full screen.
Okay. Let me try apply screen. Full screen. um, Share screen. Windows. Am
Yep, you only need to put it on full. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to project it on full screen now. So is it better now?
Yeah, this is fine.
All right. So good evening, everybody, and welcome to this call. So if you can hear me, can you please type on the chat box? Mr. Anthony, have you guys done introduction? So if you can hear me, just type your name and where you're joining the call from. For example, my name is Moses. I'm from Nigeria. So I will just drop mine on the group chat. So just type where you're joining the call from and your full name and your country. Thank you. Let's just do that real quick, 20 seconds before we proceed. All right, so thank you so much. Without any need for override embellishment, my name is Moses Abang. I'm capacity strengthening and organizational development consultant. Um, I'm here to facilitate or present on conflict management, on managing conflict in project, leading the team, and also performance, tracking team performance. So on this course, today's evening, we're just going to be walking, I will be walking you guys through these processes and align with PMI standard, and also you're having a grips on how to sit for the PMP exams. All right, so understanding conflict in project. So before we continue, can you please type what conflict is? So your own understanding of conflict, please just type it on the group chat, on the chat box real quick. Your understanding of conflict and how it relates to project management. So yeah, I just really want to learn from you guys too. Let me know your own understanding of conflict. All right, awesome. So we'll just proceed because of time. Understanding conflict in project, common sources of conflict, PMI recognize. Yeah, so we all have our own various strategies and approaches on how we understand conflict and how we really address conflict. But PMI have come up with a more robust and a concrete way of managing conflict, especially in organization and in project. So we're just going to be understanding how conflict works in project, how to manage conflict, the common sources of conflict. So now we're talking about the first sources is resources, time, cost, staff allocation. So in resources, so some of the challenges we face that bring conflict in our project could be resources. And when we talk about resources, we're not only talking about money, because most of the time when people talk about resources, they feel they are referring to money. No, but we're talking about the time. We're also talking about the staff, that is the manpower who are actually putting the job to make sure that we secure project goals and objectives. So at this point, sometimes we might really have issues trying to allocate resources. We may have conflict, time to manage time, because some tasks are dependent on each other. So for you to complete each task, especially in the traditional approach of project management, so you see that some tasks are being managed sequentially, but in PMI leverage on agile. We don't really depend on the traditional approach. So you see that at some point it's becomes very difficult to manage your time, your cost, and also staff allocation. So another issue that could arise or another sources of conflict could be priorities. Priorities here in this way, we are talking about competitive goals, schedule clashes. Now, competitive goals, it could be that you are in a partnership with another organization, or let's say stakeholders have their own interests. Definitely, they always have interests. So it could be that it's clashing with the project vision or the project goal. So at this point, it becomes an issue. It becomes a conflict that you really need to manage. And also, if you don't have the expertise to actually do so, it becomes a problem and you raise issues on the project. Now, schedule in terms of how you schedule your activities, it could pose a lot of threat and a lot of challenges in terms of project, because it could be that you are not meeting up, or you're actually eating up on another person's time, or the stakeholders or the client are actually giving you a top through. Try to see, because we now the PMI approach is leveraging on is leveraging on a result. So clients, you know that you see how each time you implement project, you try to see that clients are actually benefiting or they are seeing the results in real time. So technical opinion, different approach solution. So it could be that as you are trying to leverage or you're trying to bring out you're implementing a project. So at some point, the technical opinion, either from the expert, can also be a problem or a barrier in terms of conflict, and it will bring or hinder project success. Interpersonal issues, personal working styles. So we all have our own different approach to working, and at some point, you see that some leaders or some project team members can be autocratic, some could be democratic. It's not everybody that really understands the master servant, the servant leadership style. So it could be clashing with what we are really talking about in terms of the project. So all these can be sources of conflict in our project. Then interpersonal issues, personality, working styles. Yes, this is also a very big problem. Working styles, personal. It's not everybody that have that really have that easy going with people. So this can be a very big problem in terms of how you relate with team members and how you motivate them. Does team member have access to you? How do you resolve their issues or their challenges? You know that one of the criteria or one of the responsibility of a project manager or a scrum master is to remove impediment among team members. So if you have a very hard personality or team members find it is difficult to coexist with each other, it becomes a very big source, as in a very big source of conflict. And one of the sources that we'll talk about is roles, unclear roles. Now, because you don't define roles clearly, it poses threat on project. That is why it is advisable to use project management tools such as the RACI matrix to clarify roles and responsibility of stakeholders or team members so that everybody knows what they are supposed to do in a project and what their roles are. So with this, it will reduce what conflict among team members. And one of the issues, one of the sources could be responsibilities, overlapping responsibilities. You are really working through or you are working above what you are supposed to be performing. It becomes a very big threat to other team members as they feel that you are actually leveraging on or you're actually boycotting from what you were supposed to be doing. So it becomes a very big problem for you. So you have to clarify roles and responsibilities among team members. So these are the common sources of conflict that we encounter in project. To give me a power back. All right. So these are some of the sources in conflict that arise either in project or um or in organizational settings. Please confirm if you can hear me. But if you can't hear me, please speak out so that I'll know that you can hear me before we proceed. Could you please confirm if you can hear me? Mr. Anthony, can you please mute yourself if you can hear me to tell me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Now we'll talk about stages of conflict. So the first stage of conflict, all right, stages of conflict. So we'll be talking about the stages of conflict. So the first stage that we'll be looking at the latent stage on that's underlying tension not yet visible. So there's some issue that people are having inside of them, but they have not yet said something about it. So it's building gradually. Then from there we go to perceive. When it gets to perceive, that's awareness of potential disagreement. At this point, team members are now showing themselves that, oh, we don't agree on this point, and this is my stand, and you already know that this is your own stand. This is your own stand, so you don't really agree with me. So we now perceive each other that we are not in the same goal. And you know that one of the challenges that we face in our project is cooperation, lacking cooperation among team members. So as a project team leader, you must make sure that your team members coexist and collaborate at all points. So when they begin to perceive that, oh, they are not in line with each other, that becomes a very big problem in the project. So when it moves from latent stage to perceived stage, and from perceived stage, you move to felt, emotions begin to arise. At this point, they now know that they disagree with each other, and now emotion begins to rise. That is to say, I now know that you and I are now on the same goal, and we need to really work something out to make sure that this doesn't actually escalate. From there, it will manifest because emotion has begun to arise. If they are not properly handled, it manifests into really control their emotions. So it becomes a very big problem because the conflict has really manifested to a different stage. And you really need to do well. So you need to really try as much as possible to identify conflicts as early as possible. Yeah, so this is very, very important. And from when it manifests from different opinion, sorry, when it manifests from people's opinion, so it becomes a very big problem that we must really look at or work through. Then the last stage is aftermath. Resolution means that when all this, so if we fail to actually address the conflict, it will manifest a very big problem. It will affect our project. The members begin to have.
Hi, Moses. I think your voice is breaking a bit. We can't hear you clearly.
issues or the job or the project. Yeah. All right. So can you guys hear me? Can you confirm if you can hear me?
Your voice is breaking a
Can you
bit. We
hear me
can't.
now?
Your voice is breaking a bit. We can't hear you
Okay.
clearly.
All right. All right. Thank you. All right. So after that is resolution outcomes, positive, negative. So these are some of so the stages of conflict. The first stage, like I said, the latent stage, underlying tension not yet visible, where people don't know whether it's going to arise. Then the second stage is the perceived awareness of potential disagreement, where team members know that we are not in agreement, or stakeholders are aware that they are not in agreement with each other. Then you proceed to felt. Felt, this is emotions begin to rise as a result of disagreement within the both parties, either team members or among stakeholders. Then from there, manifest open conflict. That is when it manifests, open conflict is now visible. At this point, if it's not properly managed, you see that team member begin to throw open jobs at each other, or try to see that they don't support each other's job, which is actually going to have effect on the project. Then lastly, that is the aftermath, resolution outcomes. So is it positive or negative? How you handle the conflict will determine how well the project or the organization will succeed. Because if it's not properly managed, it tends to kill stakeholders as in project team members' morale, or kill the morale of the warring parties or affected. So at this point, you look for strategies on how to improve or resolve conflict. Now, conflict analysis framework. So who who is involved? That's the first thing you need to know, because for you to know how to resolve conflict, you need to also run an analysis to understand who is affected or who is involved in the conflict. So who is involved? Is it team members? Is it stakeholders? Is it the sponsor? It is when you know who is involved, there you now know how to address the conflict. Then when you that is what Mr.
I'm
Jeffrey,
more.
I
I'm.
power my phone. You didn't plug it well. You didn't charge. No, all right. The network. Are we back now? Can you guys hear me?
No, you're
Can you
breaking.
hear?
You're breaking. We
Okay,
can't
so
hear you clearly.
okay, I'm trying to switch my network. Okay, let me just switch to a better network now. Mm. Mm. So is it better now? Is it better for you guys now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
All, all right. So what is the impact of the conflict? That is, after you understand who is affected with the conflict, then you now know what is the impact. That is the objective and relationship and the model. So you now know who is affected, as in what is the impact of the conflict on the project. So what is the objective and what is the relationship? What is the morale? What is really causing this conflict? And then you now know where. You now begin to ask yourself, where is it happening? You need to know where the conflict is happening. Is it internal team? Is it within team members? Is it external? Is it among stakeholders? Is it cross-functional? So you need to really know where the conflict is coming up from, then before you now know how to address it. Then the next stage that you need to really understand is to why. Why is there conflict? Why now? Triggered by milestones, pressure, unclear, and expectation. So you need to really find out, or you need to troubleshoot, to ask as an exploit strategies, and ask why is the conflict really happening now. Then after that, organizational dynamics and cultural dynamics. So hierarchy, norms, and sensitive. So you also need to consider organizational dynamics, and you need to talk about the cultural dynamics too, the hierarchy, the norms, and the sensitivity. So for you to know the root cause of the conflict, so you need to run this analysis to understand who is affected, what is the impact of the conflict on the project, where is it happening, is it internal or external, so why is the conflict happening now, So you need to also understand the organizational dynamics and cultural dynamics before you actually proceed to finding how to resolve the conflict. Because now what analysis does is for you to understand the root cause and understand the conflict. Then after understanding the conflict, then you now know why and also strategies of resolving the conflict. So after that, you get to conflict resolution. When you understand the conflict, you now begin to look for ways of resolving the conflict. So there are 5 conflict resolution techniques. The first one you need to do, the first one that we're looking at here is withdraw or avoid. So in withdraw or avoid, resolution to the conflict is deferred to a later time. So you might decide to call team members and withdraw the conflict, then you talk about it later. This could happen maybe when you are having a lot of tasks to perform, or team members really need to do XYZ activity and you don't really have much time. So you decide to withdraw or avoid the conflict and talk about it later. The next one that you could look at, the next resolution strategy is compromise or reconcile. A certain degree of satisfaction is brought to all the parties involved. This is where you bring the warring parties to the table. This could also be known as dialogue. When everybody sit down, then you resolve the conflict, and then each party decide to compromise just to bring about peace. So at this point, you are not winning 100%. Each party will actually let one or two things slide, then to reach a compromise and also reconcile to make sure that there is peace. Then there's another strategy we'll be looking at is the smooth or accommodate. Smooth or accommodate areas of agreement are emphasized to reduce the conflict. So areas of agreement are emphasized to reduce. So you need to actually reach an agreement within 2 parties to see that conflict is as on peace is bring on board. So at this point, you are not getting all. So both parties have to drop XYZ for them to reach uh, uh, a lasting peace. Then the next strategy that we could also apply is a force or direct. Direction are given by person in authority to resolve the conflict. So at this point, you're not seeking the party's opinion. So the superior will just give his directive. At some point, you can also refer to this as veto power and said, please, this is what I want, and all team members or all parties must adhere to it. At this point, they don't have a choice. That is why it is called Fox or direct. So it is an instruction that the both parties must adhere to. Then the last one is collaborate or problem solving. All the parties are asked to jointly look for a solution. At this point, you actually bring them and present the solution as in the problem to them, the conflict, and ask them to resolve the conflict within themselves. So at this point, team members will seek for lasting solutions themselves and also share opinion within themselves to see that they bring about lasting peace. Business scenario based on problems where a resolution technique has to be selected and can be expected in the exam. So you should know that business scenario based on problems where a resolution technique has to be selected and can be expected in the exam. So the exam using scenario at some point. So you should also expect that you are going to see some of these scenarios. So you need to actually take these strategies of conflict resolution to mind. In case a scenario is being painted, you just apply to them and answer the problem, answer the question. But PMI actually leverage on the collaborate or problem solving, where team members come together to look for solution. They don't actually encourage force or direct. They encourage collaboration within the both parties to solve their problems. With this, they are satisfied and a long-lasting peace is secured. All right. Working as a team and with a variety of stakeholders, there are bound to be conflict. Conflict in project is inevitable. Conflict is natural. According to Samuel Huntington, you see that we live with conflict every day, so you cannot really do away with conflict. So, and this was proven with a steel assessment, when they said that when 2 steels are placed together and a force is being added to it, it brings out sound. So when human beings work together, there's bound to be conflict. So the first thing you do when you want to resolve a conflict with your project is for you to negotiate project agreement, then interpret the sources and status of the conflict, analyze the context for the conflict, evaluate, recommend, reconcile, and track effectiveness. You don't just end at resolving conflict. You have to evaluate, recommend, and reconcile. Identify the root cause of the conflict and misunderstanding. So it is only where you understand the root cause of the conflict, that's where you resolve the conflict finally. Investigate potential misunderstanding. You have to investigate what was actually causing the conflict and ways of resolving that conflict. Then the next will be upload working agreement. Both parties, they have to be an agreement, and also updated risk matrix. Updated risk matrix where stakeholders understand their roles and responsibility. This would actually avoid conflict among team members. Please, can you confirm if you can hear me? Paul? Mr. Anthony, are you still on the call? Please confirm if you can hear me. All right, so you guys can just unmute and confirm if you can hear me, please. All right, can you guys hear me? Mr. Anthony. Okay, I'm trying to read through the chat. If you guys can hear me, yes, okay. All right, thank you so much. All right, so I will just reshare my slide so we proceed to the next model. All right. So just type real quick on the chat boards and suggest your own conflict resolution strategy. Please type on your favorite conflict resolution strategy. Just go to the chat box and all right, please type on the group chat. All right, so what is your okay? Somebody said collaborative and problem solving. Okay, collaboration and problem solving. Awesome. Okay, reconciliation. Okay. All right. So, all right. Thank you, guys. So I think this is also the strategy that PMI is recommending. So the process in which you collaborate with team members for them to bring out solutions themselves. So it's going to bring a lasting peace. All right. All right. So we'll just proceed. All right. So all right, no problem. We're just going to give room. We have like 30 minutes to ask questions, so we'll just proceed soon. All right, so the next task will be leading a team. So leading a team. There are many ways to lead a team. No one approach is perfect. For every situation, the appropriate leadership style depend on the situation, the project, the stakeholders, your skills, and many other factors. A project manager must be astute in various leadership styles to apply the most suitable techniques for the moment. So you really need to know that there's no dependent approach in managing, in leading teams. So as a project manager, you must be an astute in various leadership styles to apply the most suitable techniques for the moment. So let's look at some of the leadership styles that we can really employ or exploit during when we're managing our teams or we're leading our teams. All right, so All right, so the first style could be built, the first tip that we could consider when we are leading our team is support diversity and inclusion. So that is one of the tips that you really need to really understand. Build inclusive environment where all voices are heard. So you don't just build a team and you begin to bring sentiment, or you don't factor the fact that this person is coming from the minority, or this person don't really or understand what you're saying. So it becomes a very big problem. So you need to build a team where uh, environment where all voices are heard and everybody opinion is respected. This will actually motivate team members to contribute effectively without bias and not feeling that they are being neglected within the team members. So now you know that as your duty as a project manager is to remove impediment and also motivate team members. So you need to actually look for strategies and approaches to see that team members don't feel neglected and they are also carried along throughout the project or in the organization. Respect behavior types, thoughts, processes, cultural background. So you need to really respect people's behavior and also people cultural backgrounds. For example, you're implementing a project where you're being asked that, okay, fine, in our culture we don't really come out on Tuesdays because our masquerade will be coming out on Tuesdays, so female are not allowed or male are not allowed to come out. So you just really need to respect that fact. That is their culture. And also the fact that people are the way people dress. So maybe in a formal setting, you just there's a way you really communicate effectively, and people understand their opinion. You don't feel that you don't dictate because you don't explore an autocratic leadership when you dictate and tell people what you want. This might actually slow down people pace. So you need to respect people behaviors, thoughts, processes, and cultural backgrounds. This is very, very important. But for exam tips, because we are also preparing for exams, promote inclusive leadership and cultural awareness. It is very important. So in case you see questions coming up with it, in this area, so you also need to know that you have to promote um, inclusive leadership and cultural awareness. This is to see that you, as a project manager, you need to find a way to carry everybody along and also create a cultural awareness, respect people culture, respect people opinion, and also see that everybody's opinion is valid within the organization. So once you see that tip, once you see the exam, so the tip you have to run away with is that PMI promote inclusive leadership and cultural awareness. Please take note. All right, the servant leadership. The servant leadership and leadership styles. So value servant leadership. It is very important. So you don't need to start behaving like a king because you are managing a team. There is a reason why PMI is prioritizing the servant leadership. No. Now, value servant leadership. Focus on team empowerment. You have to really empower your team to actually bring out the best in them. So how do we empower team? You have to exploit different motivation strategies. You have to exploit different capacity building strategies, mechanism to see that your team are well equipped to produce the required result that you have been leading or that is contributing to the project vision. Removing obstacles. Removing obstacles is one of the is the most duty of a the duty of a project manager. So just really need to remove obstacles, that is impediment. So communicate regularly with your team members, ask them their problem, their obstacles, and also you need to step in to resolve this problem. Any team member who is not actually performing well, you need to really move in closely to see that you ask the team member what the problem is and also try to resolve it. But for exam purposes, they will ask you, in case they bend that scenario, it's not for you to see that it's not for you to see that you are creating it's not it's not for you to see that you're actually bringing. Oh, yeah. So in exam scenario, when they ask you, it's not for you to fire. They will paint the situation. Is it for you to fire? Is it for you to reassign the staff to another project or another team? No, you have to look for a way. This is where you can micromanage to see where find out what is the team members' problem, look for alternative, build the team member capacity, and reintegrate the team members into the team. Seven team needs. So your duty as a servant leader, you have to send the team need. In terms of resources, in terms of cost, in terms of managing time, what is the impediment of my team members? How can I help? You all need to be available 24/7 for your team members so that your team members don't have issues during implementation or while they are actually carrying out their tasks. Now, the tenet, listening. You have to be a very good listener as a servant leader. You have to listen in 24/7 to your team members. Empathy, stewardship, growth of others. So you need to prioritize the growth of others. You have to look for strategies to see that you also motivate team members to grow. So as a good project manager, it's not advisable for you to prioritize just your own growth, but you also to see that your team members come up to speed and also recommend strategies for growth conferences where they can really do well and also learn new skills. Then you have to be empathy. You don't have to be real tough and that team members are struggling to have a conversation with you. It's not really, really nice. So when you create a scenario where team members begin to struggle how to communicate with you, it actually brings barrier and slow the pace of project. So for exam tip, PMI favors servant leadership over command and control. For exam success, PMI favors leadership, servant leadership over command and control. So PMI doesn't encourage an autocratic leadership where you actually bring out sanction on team members, you tell them what to do, or you actually impose. No, PMI is on the way that you as a servant leadership, you have to be there to listen, you have to be there to provide stewardship, you have to be there to help your team members grow. So for the exam purposes, just make sure that I just note that PMI favors the servant's leadership. Now, determine appropriate leadership lifestyle. We have different leadership: directive, urgency, or low team maturity. Directive, that is, you are directing. At this point, team members are just low and they are contributing less. Collaborative, foster creativity and buy-in. So collaborative, this is where team members will contribute in decision making. They also bring out their own idea or their own thoughts, and also it's foster creativity and buy-in. Delegative, empower experienced team member. This is where you empower team members for them to take off task or take off decision on your behalf. At this point, you have built your capacity to an extent where team members feel that, oh, they can actually take decision on your behalf, and you actually trust their decision or what they will be bringing. So delegative means you are delegating your roles and responsibility to team members to take decision on your behalf. For exam tip, adapt staff to team maturity and project phase. Adapt staff to team maturity and project phase. So at this point, you see that adaptive is it's really important. I remember that PMI is actually facilitating the agile methodology. Agile, that is where an iterative process. So where we actually accommodate change and also adapt to change during project implementation. All right, motivation, influence, and stakeholders analysis. Stakeholders can never be overemphasized, and the role of stakeholders or the relevance of stakeholders can never be overemphasized in project. So you have to inspire, motivate, and influence. Tools, team contract, social contract, and reward. Look for reward strategies to reward team members. And so this will actually motivate them. That's why if you go to some organization, you see them as you are entering, they will tell you this is staff of the month. So this is actually to boost the staff morale and actually bring other people to compete. It encourages healthy competition, so that at this point, while the staff are actually putting out their best, they are actually fast-tracking project implementation. So you also need to employ a motivation strategy. You know that a motivated staff is a productive staff. So motivation, intrinsic, growth, mastery purpose versus intrinsic. But for exam purposes, PMI favors intrinsic motivation and empowerment. So it's extricate is one of it, but for example, purpose, PMI leverages on intrinsic motivation and empowerment. So just take note of some of these tips. So I actually, when I was developing this track, I actually tried to make sure that I put in some of these tips so that you can run away with them in case for the purpose of exam, and some of you that are actually preparing for the exams. Analyze team members and stakeholders' influence. Use power and influence. So you can use the Venn diagram. So to determine the stakeholder, the power and influence of stakeholders. So you can use interest grid for influence mapping. This will now know the influence of stakeholders and also know their interest in the project. So the Venn diagram can use you as an identify the power and influence of stakeholders, while the interest grid can be used for mapping stakeholders can be used for stakeholders mapping. Adapt approach depending on power and interest level. So it is where you know the power and interest of the stakeholders. That's why you now know the approach to which to adapt and ways to actually address the stakeholders. Distinguished leadership opinion. Distinguished leadership opinion. Tailor approach for each stakeholders and team member. So you have to create a tailored approach to each team member. What worked for me stakeholder A could not work for stakeholder B. So you have to address stakeholders based on their power and influence. So you have to create a tailored approach to uh, uh, addressing stakeholders. PMI expect flexible situational leadership. So PMI doesn't encourage a static or an autocratic style. So it encourages what a flexible. That is why you see that project management is adaptive. So PMI encourages an adaptive approach where you can be flexible in decision making and also in during your implementation. So for example, so you have to be in your decision, if you've taken a decision, you cannot say that, oh, this is what is in the project plan at some point, so we cannot really change. No. What this is encourage the adaptive, as the agile methodology encourage adaptability, where you can actually adapt to change and also you can be flexible with your decision making. All right. Teams are made up of individuals with different skill sets, backgrounds, experience, and attitude. So for you to lead team, you have to set a clear vision and mission. You have to set a clear vision and mission. You have to support diversity and inclusion. So we spoke earlier about diversity and inclusion. So you have to see that everybody is being carried along within your team members, and also you don't segregate so that team members don't feel that you have been biased or you are neglecting them. So this will actually encourage everybody to bring in their opinions to actually be resolving major problem in the project. So value servant leadership. It is very important for you to value servant leadership. We have explained servant leadership a couple of minutes ago. So you just really need to value servant leadership. Determine an appropriate leadership style. You have to determine, we talked about different leadership style. So it is now left for you as a project manager to determine the appropriate leadership style that works for your team or that works for you. So like we said, you see the one that the PMI is encouraging. Inspire, motivate, and influence team member. So you have to inspire and motivate team members. It is very, very important that you inspire and motivate team members. Like I said earlier, a motivated staff is a productive staff. Look for strategies to motivate your team members. This will encourage project deliverables to arrive at its peak, and also for you to actually get the required result. Distinguish various options and maintain team. So the deliverables that we should be prioritizing at the end of it is vision, the mission document. So we have to really work on the vision and mission document, work with it side by side at the end of it. So you also need update the charter. The project charter is a high-level document that contains information about the project. So at this point, you update the charter with the decision reach and the leadership strategies that you have adopted. Then product box, rewards and reconcile and recognition plan. So these are some of the deliverables that you will produce at the end of this task when you are leading the team. So this will actually guide you throughout the process while the project is going on. Remember, this process is adaptable and is flexible. So you can adopt change and the project charter is also a living document. This means that you can make change to them anytime you deem it fit. Now, we'll move to support. We'll move to support team performance. But before we move to support team performance, please, could you please type your own strategy of leading team? So what could be your own what could be your own approach of leading your own team? What is your own best leadership style? So we've talked about servant leadership. We talk about direct. We talk about different styles. So what could be your own? What do you, in your own understanding, what approach you feel is more appropriate? Please, can you please type on the chat box real quick before we proceed? Just type real quick on the chat box before we proceed. Thank you. All right. So thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. All right. So we are on the chat box right now. We are on the chat box. Okay. Okay. Servant leader. Okay. Inclusive leadership style. Okay. Servant leadership. Servant leadership. Okay. Okay. All right. So I want to hear from you. Just type real quick. Type real quick. Type real quick. Type real quick. All right. All right. Real quick. We want to see your own. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you. Okay. I will combine servant leadership with motivational. Okay. Okay. It depends on the team I manage. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So let's proceed. All right. Supporting team performance. You want to get the most from your team. There are many ways to support the effort and performance. In this task, you will explore a few practices to determine appropriate feedback that provide the best support for team members. So team members are doing the job. How do we support them? How do we get the best out of them? So you explore different strategies and different style to see that team members do their job seamlessly and more efficient and effective. So appraising team performance. So you have to appraise your team's performance. Align performance with job objective and success metrics. So you want to really know how your team members are performing. How do you do that? So you have to align your performance with job objective and success metrics. That is why you see that when you're creating JDs, job description for staff, you align everything that the team members will be doing throughout the project. So now, how do you now track their performance? You track their performance against the job against the project objective and success metrics. So you now see that, oh, this is what we set to achieve at month 4. So this is what you actually perform. So you now begin to track team performance according to job metrics. So with this, you can leverage on you can pull out the indicator performance tracking table to actually track performance, staff performance against the project objective. Smart KPIs. You have to really set smart KPIs. That is, use smart KPIs, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So your key performance indicators have to be specific. They have to be specific to the subject matter. They have to be measurable. It is when you measure the change, that is where you now know that, oh, team members are actually really putting up to speak. For example, we tend to actually do a distribution like 50,000 bags of millet to IDP counts. So that is something that is measurable in month 4. So month 4 means it's time bound. So in month 4 now, what we need to do if team members are actually doing their job is for we to pull out the key performance indicator. That is either the indicator performance tracking table and side by side and with what the team member have actually achieved over time. Okay, fine. We said to distribute 50 bags of corn in IDP in month 4. So at month 4, did they actually meet up the task? If yes, means they are doing excellently well or they are doing well. If no, What else can we do to make sure that we are meeting up? Remember that you need to really continually track your project performance to see that whether you're on track. So for you to know that whether team members are doing well, you have to really track team performance against you have to track team performance with indicators performance tracking table. It is very, very important. Then data-driven assessment. PMI favors objective data-driven assessment over subjective judgment. So you don't just make decision because you feel that it is very important for you to make decision. So you have to make decision with fact. PMI are of the opinion that you have to really make your decision and with the data that is factual. So you don't just make a judgment or an assumption and feel that this is important or this person is doing well, this person is not doing well. No, how did you know that this staff is not performing well? So you have to leverage on the performance tracking table. You have to leverage on the key performance indicator. You have to also check the project objective. Is the team member actually meeting up with the project objectives? Is their performance actually in line with the key performance indicators? So if yes, means they are doing well. If you now have the rationale to say that this team member is doing well. If no, you check they are underperforming, as in they are underperforming, the result is setting low, they is not aligning with the objectives and everything. So with this you can see that, oh, it is actually based on the data provided that we actually make this decision. And when you provide the result anyway, it is very, very clear. And everybody will see that, oh, we actually make this decision based on the data that was provided or based on the data that was set. And you have to actually make it standard so that team members don't feel that you have been biased in your decision. Support growth and providing feedback. Support and recognize growth. Provide trainings for your team members. Team members that are underperforming, even the ones that are performing, you have to, because project management is not static. Methodologies are not static. Approaches. So you have to provide regular training for team members to see that you support them throughout the project, and you have to explore alternative for them to gain new knowledge and also infuse the knowledge on the project and also on the organization. Mentoring, apply accompaniment process, that is mentoring and coaching. With this, there are some team members that are introvert, they cannot really communicate maybe in a larger scale. So once you coach and mentor the people privately, it gives they have that confidence. They could have that confidence to talk to you effectively. They could have that confidence to share their thoughts with you. Mm. They could have that confidence to share their thoughts with you. So this is very, very important. Recognize and reward contribution to boost morale. You have to recognize team members that have performed well. This will actually boost their morale and also give them the sense of belonging. It will actually motivate them to do more in the project because they feel that you see them, they feel that you recognize their effort, they feel that they are being valued and what they are doing is making sense and is contributing to the success and is contributing to the strategic objective of the organization. So this is actually very important that you need to recognize and reward contribution to boost morale. Build a culture of continuous learning and improvement. You have to build a culture of continuous learning and improvement. No man is a monopoly of wisdom. The fact that team members were hired doesn't mean that you won't provide leverage or you won't provide a platform for them to continuously learn. So you have to actually provide a platform where people can continuously learn within the project. Even you as a project manager, you need to continually learn on the project. And it is very important for you to leverage on tools like the lesson learned tool. The lesson learned tool will document lessons throughout the project lifecycle and also guarantee feedback. Determine appropriate feedback approach. Feedback should be timely, specific, and constructive. So you have to encourage feedback and you have to be timely. Don't provide an avenue when feedback will be late where you cannot really act on it. So you have to make strategies and provide alternatives where people can provide feedback timely. And also this will actually encourage success to the organization and actually bring feedback to the project. So use SBMI model, that's situation, behavior, and impact, to actually provide feedback. Balance positive reinforcement with corrective guidance. So you have to balance positive reinforcement with corrective guidance. Corrective guidance, you don't have to speak derogatory among team members. You don't have to be harsh. You don't have to be brutal when you are actually making your corrections. So there's a way you have to be constructive. You have to be passive, and also you have to speak genuinely to the person. The person tends to learn better than when you're scolding the staff. Verifying performance improvement. For you to verify performance improvement, you need to monitor. Monitor progress after feedback and support. So when you provide support, you need to monitor to check whether the feedback has been infused in the project or in the staff performance. So with this, you know that, oh, the actions has been taken. Measurable indicators. Use measurable indicators to confirm sustained improvement. You have to use measurable indicators to measure to confirm sustained improvement. So how do you know that the improvement has been sustained? You know that by what? Indicators. Indicators are signs that something has been has taken place. So you have to actually use these. You have to use indicators and measure to measure and to actually be sure that the this thing have been sustained. Adjust adjust responsibility or provide additional support if needed. So the team members who are falling behind their tasks, you don't really need to reassign them or actually fire them. It's not advisable. So now, one of the tips I will be giving you in case you're writing the exams is that you should know that team members, as an PMI, is not advisable for you to fire staff or for you to reassign. So you need to really work collaboratively with team members, provide support, and also see that they adapt. So you provide them with the necessary support they need, and also adjust responsibility or provide additional support if needed. So you can. That is why you are the leader. That is why you are project project manager or a scrum master. You're there to remove impediment. You're there to provide additional support to that staff who is not actually meeting up standard. The fact that the staff is not meeting up his tasks doesn't mean that the staff is not good. It could be that the staff is suffering or from a mental issue, or the staff is lacking behind, or he might be having family crisis. That's why the staff is actually falling behind schedule. So you have to really go beyond the job, meet the staff, and actually find out why the staff is there. Then you coach the staff and bring the staff up to speed. Document progress for future appraisers and team development. So why you do this, you have to document it. So you have to document it for future. So that's why, okay, let me leverage on the medical field. You see that when you go to the hospital and you're being diagnosed, you see that they would take they will really ask you a couple of questions, and they will document it. That's why each patient has a file. So when they have been transferring your case, they will transfer your file and send it to the next doctor who is going to be attending to you. The doctor read through your case, your file, read through your file, and will now understand your medical history. So with this, the doctor will really understand where to take up from. And this is really very, very important for we to know within our organization, or when you're managing or when you're monitoring and you're managing staff. All right. There are many ways to support the effort and team performance. Enablers: appraise team performance, support and recognize team growth and development, determine appropriate feedback approach, verify team members' performance improvement, support team task accountability. So your deliverables will be RACI chart. RACI chart means responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. So responsible means the person responsible for performing the task. Accountable means the person who is to ensure that the person responsible conduct the task completely. Consulted is a two-way communication. So when you seek an opinion, informed is a one-way communication. The person who is to be informed but is not supposed to act. Management by objectives. These are some of the deliverables that you will get. Then benchmarking, performance report. You have to develop report at the end of the day. Then you archive the report and keep it and track future use. Some of the tools you could be using are the racing metrics, the dashboard, the performance tools. So some people use performance tracking table. So the burn-off chart, the task board, information radiators, and end value analysis. So these are some of the tools that you could use to conduct this process or to appraise team members. Team dynamics. Dr. Bruce Stockman, 1965. Stages of team performance are as follows. Forming. People are brought together as a team. So at this point, you know that people are brought together as a team. They are not from the same parents. So at this point, when you're forming your team, you bring people together. People apply from different, that is, if you don't have the team members already from an organization, you see people coming from different countries, people coming from different states to come and actually implement that vision that the organization has. Storming. The team may have different disagreement. Yes, it is, people might not really agree with each other at all time. So storming is saying that the team, at some point, team may have disagreement. The fact that they have disagreement doesn't mean they won't coexist or they won't agree later ahead. So as a project team member, you need to find your way around to make sure that team member agree or actually align with the vision of the project. Norming. Trust develop within the team. So at this point, team members begin to develop trust among themselves. Team, team members begin to develop trust among themselves. Performing, the team starts delivering, the team begin to develop results at this point. The team begins to delivering results at this point. So they have developed within the team, they have developed trust within themselves, and they are coming together now to start delivering what they are being onboarded for. Then the last one is adjourning. This team is delivering, is disseminating after project completion. So after project completion is either they actually disseminate after the job is being done, or they are being reassigned to different projects. So these are the stages of team dynamics according to Dr. Bruce Stockman. He said that at first, team will be brought out from different perspectives. That is, people come from different to come together. That is forming. Then storming, team may have disagreement because they are just coming from different places. Norming, trust, they now start begin to develop trust within themselves. Performing, at this point, they are now understand each other. Everybody is bringing their best and they are being doing the job. Adjourning, that is adjournment. They are done with the tasks. Either they are disseminated or they are being reassigned to a different project. All right. I'm open. Any question? Any question at this point? So if you have a question, we're in the question section. All right, can you guys hear me? Do you
Yeah,
have any question? Do you guys need me to clarify?
we can hear you. I don't see any hands raised by the candidates to ask any question. So I think we can go ahead if you. Are we moving to the practical questions? Moses, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, all right.
I don't see
Just
any.
give
I
me.
don't. I don't see any
All right, so
questions.
just give me a minute so we could just take some practical question.
I think there's a question on the chat. I'm just going to read it.
Okay, please help me out. I'm trying to pull out some of the questions.
Okay, so there's a question from Kiruka asking, please throw more light on product box as part of deliverable. And then what is the best project management tool for making team roles clear?
Is the RESI metrics. Yeah, thank you, Nkiruka. Is the RESI metrics. You use the RESI metrics. So the RESI metrics clarify roles and responsibility of a project team members, like of project team members. So the R is for responsible. That is the person who is responsible for performing tasks. The A is accountable. The person who is to ensure that the person who is to ensure that the task is done completely. Then the C is consulted. That is the two-way communication. So consulting for opinion. Then the I is informed. That is somebody who should be kept informed, not necessarily act on it. So the RESI matrix is actually used to clarify roles and responsibility of team members. All right. So thank you so much. So Mr. Tony, Mr. Nelson, I
Yes.
would have loved to share. I would have loved to actually project some of the past questions, but I think I will share them. I have past questions and answers. I will actually share with them. So once they reach out to me on my email, I will share with them because my laptop is actually going off and I'm not close to my charger. So that's why the presentation was kind of real quick. And I was trying to catch up with time. And apologies for everybody for joining this call lately. And I will share any materials that you feel that can help you pass the exams. And if you reach out to me, I'm just going to share my email address here. So I'm typing on the text box, on the chat box, my email address and platform you can reach out, abansend01 at gmail. My.com. I was just about to project the past question, but I fear that my battery could carry. Okay,
Yeah, so all the materials that Moses will share with me, I will share them on the WhatsApp group. Okay. All right, then. Thank you so much, Moses. And thanks to all the candidates for showing up today. Once again, we will
so you
share.
can follow me on LinkedIn on Abang Moses. So I'm on LinkedIn as Abang Moses. All right, so my IG is Moses Abang. So I'll share with you. And if you have any other concern, please you can reach out to me via the platforms I share on the chat. I really want to say thank you everybody for joining this call and thank you Nelson for the payment. I was trying to look home see at I'm actually so that says everyone in this moment and do have a lovely evening.
Okay. Thank you so much, Moses. Thank you to the candidates as well. Moses has shared his details on the chat, his LinkedIn and his email address as well. All the materials that I received from him, I will share on the WhatsApp group. I will also share the recording to this meeting as well. And I will share the registration links for next week, Tuesday and Thursday. So have a good evening. Have a good night from wherever you are. See you soon.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Yes.
Sorry, how can I get onto the WhatsApp group?
I'm going to share a link that you can just click on and join. I'm going to post it on the chat. So if you can just stay on, I will post it on the chat now.
All right. Thank you so much, Moses.
It's Nelson.
Hello,
Now,
Nelson.
Hello.
Your name is Andreas.
Yes, Andreas.
Yes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just joined the group this evening, please. I don't know whether before now
Yeah.
some of the materials have been shared because WhatsApp is not retroactive. So
Yes.
that's my concern. Mhm.
Yes, there's been lots of materials that have been shared. There will be more that will be shared there again. Most of the
Yeah.
materials I shared by the candidates. I have shared helpful information that just a while ago. But if you ask in the group for the candidates that have been there to share the previous resources, they will share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I write to you through your email for some?
No, so most of them are the candidates are sharing on the WhatsApp. So if you
Okay.
just ask on the WhatsApp group, they will reshare them because
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, all the materials there are free. So
Okay. Thank
they
you.
will share them
Mhm.
again.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.